Tonight, more road work means more slowdowns on the Queensway this weekend.
I'm stuck in traffic constantly.
Commuters and cab drivers voice their frustration in a year marred by construction. Keeping Canadians in the loop on the growing use of artificial intelligence in government.
It's imperative that we build trust because things will get better and more complicated.
How AI is being used in public service amid concerns around data security. And hunting for that perfect tree.
It's a great way to support the hospital, and the volunteers work hard. It's nice to come out and get a Christmas tree.
A handful of local organizations roll out their annual tree sale campaigns for local causes ahead of the holidays. Good evening and thank you for joining us. We begin tonight with more traffic slowdowns on the Queensway this weekend. 3 westbound lanes are shut down between Vanier Parkway and Nicholas Street for a water valve repair, and that is adding to frustration that many commuters are feeling. CTV's Josh Morano joins us live in studio with more on what this means for weekend travel and how some are getting around. Josh.
Austin, as if Christmas shopping wasn't stressful enough, now drivers say they're sitting in traffic for longer than usual to get around town. Backups forming well before the afternoon rush. And the people I spoke with today say this is one of the worst construction seasons in recent memory. Stoppages and construction along the Queensway are nothing new to Ottawa drivers, especially in recent years.
It's affecting time, but 2 lanes. 2 lanes working, but slow.
However, for cab driver Garish Berry, maneuvering city streets for over 40 years, frustration is starting to boil over.
A lot of traffic all the time, even you go in the afternoon, anytime you go on the highway, it's always back up because the construction.
3 westbound lanes on the Queensway are closed all weekend from Vanier Parkway to Nicholas Street as crews work on a damaged water main valve. For some drivers, the construction feels like it will never end.
I use Google Maps a lot to try to avoid construction areas, but it can definitely be an inconvenience.
It's like forever. I don't leave now. I plan my day, but even at that, I'm stuck in traffic constantly.
But it's not just the highway. Commuters looking for detours met with even more construction and congestion, especially along Vanier Parkway, where westbound ramps are closed, and Coventry Road.
I don't understand what's going on. It's like there's construction absolutely everywhere in the city, all at the same time.
Before the COVID, the construction started on a highway there. It never ending, like a 6-7 year now. It's terrible traffic all the time. It's not only rush hour.
For Barry, he says getting around town this year has been more difficult than he remembers, and it's had a toll on business.
Before it was, it was not that bad, only the rush hour, you see 2-3 hours in the morning and 3 hours in the afternoon. But now, every time you go on a highway, it's back up. It's taking time, it's taking a lot of time to get through there.
The city expects the westbound lanes to open by Monday morning, along with the ramps at Vanier Parkway for the morning commute. As drivers tell me, they hope this is the last bit of construction they see for the year. Austin.
Yeah, we'll see about that, Josh. Thank you very much for this. CTV's Josh Morano reporting live for us tonight. And on the roads, maybe a little bit of snow, but not too much. Not expected to at least cause too much in the way of dangerous driving conditions. We do have a cool down on the way, despite some of the sunny sky that we saw over the course of this afternoon. Some snow they expected over the next little while here. Currently and in through the night, we're right now sitting at -3 degrees, and the low tonight is -5. Elsewhere in the region, much cooler, -7 in Bancroft, Pembroke, and -12 in Kitigan-Zibi, -4 in Brockville. Taking a look at Gatineau, also at -7 degrees. They're also expecting a little bit of snow in the forecast, along with Kemptville at -5 degrees, before things will warm up slightly tomorrow. 2 degrees, but not much. And also more snow in the forecast. So again, you're going to want to keep that in mind if you're spending much time on the roadways or have any sort of a road trip planned. You may want to give yourself a little extra time. 2 degrees in Gatineau is the high tomorrow. -1 in Tremblant, but they'll be loving the snow over there. And with the cool weather settling in over Ottawa, it is a sure sign that Christmas is almost here. Many in our region are now on the hunt for that perfect Christmas tree while also helping some worthy causes. CTV's Natalie Van Roy has more on a number of local initiatives that are giving back this holiday season. Natalie.
Boston Tree Farms are pairing with local charity initiatives to support organizations in the Ottawa community, and it's a move that resonates with those getting ready for the holiday season. Hundreds of Christmas trees being unloaded outside the Royal, Ottawa's mental health center. For those buying the perfect tree, the funds raised are also helping those struggling this holiday season.
Programs at the Royal that are not traditionally funded by the government. It could be stuff for cognitive development or any other kind of mental health programming.
It's a cause that resonates deeply with Guy Warwick. He's been getting his tree here for 20 years.
I think all of us know somebody in their family who's been affected by mental health. My mom certainly had that burden when she was alive, and it's a great way to support the hospital.
The public jumping in to help to unload 1,000 fresh trees, all different shapes and sizes, smelling like fresh pine.
We were a little bit late having the trees arrive, several hours late, so we have a lot of the general public that have decided to just chip in and help out and get us going so we can start selling our trees today.
We try to get here the first weekend. There's been years where it sells out in the first weekend, so we learned our lesson a couple of years ago.
And it takes a while to pick the perfect one.
Also had to pick our grandparents' tree, and they wanted like a big tree, so I went to the bigger section.
Which one appeals to you? Channel the Charlie Brown in you and pick one that goes with what you've got going on in the house.
These Ottawa residents have a way of picking the right one.
Well, I'm picking it on a mix of thickness and height and how it feels when you hug it.
Over at the Gloucester Lions Club, tree sales will fund a number of charity initiatives.
It's been our main fundraiser basically for over 50 years. All the money goes to charity. We're all volunteers.
John Barrett says they are hoping to sell out this entire batch right in time for the holiday season. And the Gloucester Lions Club Christmas tree sale runs daily at the Peter Knippel Garden Centre on Bank Street and Innes Road until they sell out. As for the Royal Holiday Tree Sale, it runs on weekends from 9 a.m. until 7 p.m. and weekdays from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. Austin.
Okay, thank you very much for this. CTV's Natalie Van Roy reporting live for us this evening. Well, a man in Westport, Ontario, that's about 120 kilometers away from Ottawa, is now facing half a dozen charges after an intimate partner violence investigation. On Tuesday, Ontario Provincial Police arrested the man after he refused to leave a residence. He is now charged with assault, 3 counts of break and enter with the intent to commit indictable offense, mischief, criminal harassment, and failure to comply with a release order. In order to safeguard the identity of the victim, the accused cannot be named. The federal government has launched its first registry detailing how it is using artificial intelligence. The open list cites over 400 examples ranging from insect identification to policing assistance and chatbots. But as CTV's Colton Braille reports, large-scale adoption still has some challenges, and some experts say Canada has not properly weighed the risks.
For the first time, Canadians are getting an idea of how the federal government is using artificial intelligence. From identifying insects to analyzing immigration permits, combating human trafficking, and acting as a chatbot, a new government registry lists over 400 instances where the technology is being used in varying capacities.
It's imperative that we build trust because things will get better and more complicated.
But as governments turn to AI, there are also significant security concerns around storing and accessing Canadians' personal data.
If you're going to build another layer of added value using current AI technologies, then the question is, does that extra layer provide an extra risk of exposure?
This longtime Canadian AI scientist says creating a made-in-Canada tool is one way to minimize the risk. It's something Mark Carney's government has pledged to do.
What we're not seeing is the kind of preemptive work we need to investigate the impact of these systems, to make those impact assessments public before these systems are put to use.
This week, Alberta announced it will be the first Canadian jurisdiction to use AI in drafting government legislation for a bill defining Albertan whiskey.
AI gets it wrong, then we can use human writers that can correct it.
But as governments of all orders move to use AI more, polling shows most Canadians are at least cautious, if not skeptical, of its use.
Canadians are worried, not just about the impact on jobs and the labor market, but they're also worried about misinformation, disinformation.
As Canada looks to expand its AI use over the next 2 years, critics have expressed concerns over the possible loss of public service jobs and diminished trust in Ottawa's ability to deliver services. Colton Prale, CTV News, Ottawa.
We now know who will be going for gold for Canada in women's curling at the upcoming Winter Olympics in Italy.
Needs the floor, don't go too far, and she'll spill away. And the hands come out. Rachel Holman will go to Cortina.
Was there really ever any doubt? Ottawa's own Rachel Holman and her team, they dominated 12-3 in the second game of a best-of-3 final this afternoon against Christina Black from Nova Scotia. Holman represented Canada at the 2018 Olympics, but finished off the podium. Her rink, the defending world champions. The women's curling event for the Milano Cortina Winter Olympics kicks off on February 12th.
Alberta's energy resources are a national treasure that can and must be developed.
Still ahead, days after the province of Alberta and the federal government signed an MOU laying the groundwork for a new oil pipeline, the political blowback continues. Here's a live look through our Centennial Glass Skycam. It is -3 degrees.
'Tis the season to lend a helping hand, Ottawa.
Join us for the CTV Your Morning Ottawa Food Drive on Friday, December 12th. We're teaming up with the Ottawa Food Bank to help our neighbors this holiday season.
Drop off your non-perishable food items at 87 George Street or make a monetary donation, allowing the Ottawa Food Bank to buy what's needed most when it's needed. CTV Your Morning Ottawa Food Drive, December 12th, proudly sponsored by Doyle Saluski.
It was billed as a grand bargain deal between Alberta and the federal government. The signing of a memorandum of understanding between the two governments, signaling the beginning of a new relationship between the Western province and the federal government. But on both sides, the news has created some political tensions. CTV's Jeremy Sharon now on the continued fallout.
Thank you! Oh my goodness!
Greeted by her party faithful in Edmonton today, Premier Danielle Smith gave the keynote address at the United Conservative Party's annual general meeting.
We have helped to turn the tide of national public opinion from being anti-oil and gas into a countrywide consensus that Alberta's energy resources are a national treasure that can and must be developed.
This just days after Smith signed an energy agreement with the Prime Minister. But as the saying goes, in a good compromise, no one is happy.
I hope people today feel a lot more confident than Canada Works than they did a couple of days ago.
The Premier's deal with Ottawa wasn't exactly warmly welcomed by her party's grassroots members.
She's not going to be universally praised for this in her own province. For those who are interested in separating, this doesn't go far enough for them.
Meanwhile, environmentalists argue it's the wrong investment at the wrong time, pointing to an expected plateau in oil demand globally in the next decade.
When I look at this MOU on an imaginary pipeline with no backer, no business case, and no demand on the other side, my concern primarily is actually for the economies of Alberta.
Prime Minister Mark Carney and his government are doing damage control too. Energy Minister Tim Hodgson made a trip to BC Friday to meet Premier David Eby, who is vehemently opposed to a potential pipeline through his province.
It was a challenging but frank exchange between us.
The BC Premier has expressed frustration he was not included in talks between Alberta and Ottawa, something the federal government has committed to doing in the future. Jeremy Sherrill, CTV News, Ottawa.
And as we just heard, that pipeline agreement struck this week is proving to be risky for the Prime Minister. The key cabinet minister, Stephen Guilbeault, has already resigned, and there could be more blowback, again, in British Columbia and beyond. CTV's Judy Trin takes a closer look at the risks and what might be coming next.
For a project like that to come to reality, you'd have to make sure that there is social acceptance, certainly if it's going to BC.
After 6 years in the Liberals' inner circle, Stephen Guilbeault quit as Minister of Culture, unable to stomach the Prime Minister's shift toward pipelines. Just hours after Mark Carney signed the Memorandum of Understanding with Alberta's Premier, Guilbeault resigned. He said several elements of the climate change action plan he worked on are about to be dismantled, including consumer carbon pricing, zero-emission vehicle standards, and the emissions cap on the oil and gas sectors.
I'll disagree with the characterization that we're rolling things back when we've actually committed to strengthening the industrial carbon price, strengthening methane regulations, extending the methane regulation.
Guilbeault will remain in caucus. Other Liberal MPs feel strongly about the environment. About 30 are part of a newly formed climate caucus.
He's dedicated his life to climate issues, and it's completely understandable that he would stand on that principle. Does that mean that there's a cancer spreading through the caucus? Absolutely not.
Guilbeault was also the Quebec lieutenant. Now Carney will have to find someone else to help him navigate the politics of La Belle Province.
Mark Carney is not a Quebecer. Mark Carney is not culturally, linguistically in the flow of Quebec. He relies on that Quebec lieutenant.
The Prime Minister must now focus on finding a new Minister of Canadian Culture, but he could also use this vacancy for a broader cabinet shuffle. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
And there was some surprisingly good news on the economic front this week, with the latest GDP number coming in stronger than expected, showing 2.6% growth. This despite the onslaught of U.S. tariffs. But look deeper into the data, and the situation isn't exactly rosy. Here's CTV's Abigail Beeman.
Hi, Ontario people. That's what we need to do, is support each other.
Some say economic growth is proof months of Buy Canadian ads worked.
We saw imports drop 2.2%, which is a huge decline in the amount of foreign goods that we're consuming here in Canada. And that's really what helped to propel the economy forward, along with some increasing government spending.
Canada's real gross domestic product rose 2.6% on an annualized basis in the third quarter of 2025. Imports dropped 2.2% in that quarter, while exports climbed 0.2%, tied to the unresolved trade war with the United States.
This puts aside kind of the recession talks, or certainly the worries that we had about 2 negative quarters, but it doesn't really kind of take away the kind of, how should I say, concern that we have around the economy still.
Statistics Canada says business investment was flat and household spending dropped slightly. The Prime Minister picks a positive spin and takes credit, posting the growth beat expectations and we're getting results.
At the surface, the data looks good. It's positive. But scratching beneath the surface, what you see is that there is some prudence. Consumers are prudent. You see that in the way they've increased their savings.
This economic snapshot coming ahead of the Bank of Canada's last interest rate decision of the year on December 10th. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Officials in British Columbia say they have ruled out any link between 4 captured grizzly bears and a recent attack on a group of school children and their teachers on a field trip. The BC Conservation Officer Service says a forensics lab analyzed evidence, including DNA, from last week's attack in Bella Coola. That's about 700 kilometers northwest of Vancouver. 3 children and a teacher suffered serious injuries. The investigation and search for the bears involved continues. Residents are advised to avoid the 4-mile area, stay indoors, and not try to search for the animals themselves. Meantime, the already captured bears are expected to be relocated away from the coast over the coming days. Turning now to the latest in South America, there are growing fears that a conflict could break out between the United States and Venezuela after Donald Trump declared the airspace above that country should be considered closed entirely.
There's not a lot of pushback
because again, it is the Congress itself, not the president, that actually declares war. But what we're seeing right now is much of the policies are now being flipped on their head, and it's the president who is moving full speed ahead with an invasion in Venezuela. But again, not many people know what that looks like or what will be the true cost of such an invasion.
Trump made the comments on social media earlier today, adding fuel to already growing tensions between the United States and the Latin American nation. Trump and his administration have ramped up attacks on what they call drug smugglers on ships coming out of the country, alleging that President Nicolas Maduro is supporting the trafficking of drugs. Maduro's administration has denied these allegations. Earlier this week, Trump repeated threats to begin bombing land-based targets in Venezuela. American fighters also landed in Puerto Rico earlier this week, joining growing buildup of American military presence in the Caribbean. A bit of turbulence hitting the aviation industry. Airbus is warning there may be flight disruptions as a result of a software update on thousands of its aircraft.
Apparently, the aircraft actually descended without command, which is a pretty serious issue. So the new software update, which will have to be done separately to each airplane, will take a while to do. But as long as they've determined what's causing the problem and determined that the software will actually fix it and prevent this from happening again, we should be in good shape.
The setback appears to be among the largest recalls affecting Airbus in its 55-year history, as it impacts 6,000 planes, threatening one of the busiest travel weekends in the United States. Airbus says intense solar radiation may corrupt data critical to the functioning of its flight controls. This comes after a JetBlue flight made an emergency landing in Florida in October, triggering an investigation. Well, cancer research in this country is taking another step forward thanks to the Terry Fox Institute, which has compiled one of the country's largest patient database. It'll be used to strengthen scientific research and help to understand rare diseases. CTV's Garrett Berry explains.
Cancer researcher Sherry Christian has been looking forward to this moment for years.
It's game-changing. Yeah, this is what I think we've been trying to get, the point where we've been trying to get for decades.
She is one of the first to get access to a massive and deep cancer database tracking genomic data, interventions, outcomes in about 13,000 Canadians.
What somebody, for example, in Alberta finds that mutation and finds the drug that's going to target that mutation. Well, somebody in Newfoundland can find that same mutation, and they'll know which drug is going to be appropriate.
The Gold Cohort, as it's called, is a project of the Terry Fox Research Institute. That database is still growing. It's just won about $20 million annually in federal government funding.
Canadians have to learn to be more self-sufficient, so we can't really rely on things being done in other countries. So we have to do that ourselves. Again, this is what Terry Fox told us 45 years ago.
Christian's research on glioblastoma is one of the first 5 to tap into this database.
Just look in Atlantic Canada, we might get 20, that we could, or maybe even 50, at the outside. But we're not going to get the hundreds that you really need to be able to dive into the data and find these patterns.
It will be some time before this database is fully integrated in healthcare systems across the country, but it is a step towards what's called precision medicine, where an individual's genetic makeup is a key factor in determining what treatments are recommended for them. Garrett Berry, CTV News.
Turning now to a remarkable story about 2 families who were complete strangers but are now connected by the grave of a Canadian soldier who served in the Second World War. CTV's Alison Bamford has that story.
And it says France and Germany, So.
An afternoon with family.
He sure sounds like the Clausens, doesn't he?
Remembering a person they never got the chance to know.
He must have been an extraordinary man.
That man is their uncle, Corporal Peter Clausen, a young soldier in the Second World War.
This was for participating in the war, actually, is what it was, wasn't it?
Most of what his nephews know comes from photos, articles, and medals passed down to them.
And not knowing the man personally, you just feel happy that there is a family member that did sacrifice their life for our freedom.
Peter was killed in action while fighting in France in 1944. He was just 19. His remains are buried in a Belgian cemetery, the ending of their uncle's story as they knew it. But for this Belgian couple, it was just the beginning.
We visit the graves a few times on a year, and then we take flowers, and then we say a little prayer.
Danny Van Hefta and Sabina de Kraker adopted Peter Clausen's grave 2 years ago through an international program. They wanted the family to know his grave was being cared for.
Perhaps it gives them some comfort that there are still people in Belgium that did not forget what they did.
They posted this on Facebook, searching for any of Peter's relatives. It caught the attention of military historians, the Royal Canadian Legion, and eventually the family.
I would be very proud to say that someone was looking after someone that was dear to our hearts.
The families have connected online since, but more than that, it's renewed interest in Peter's story.
When we did this research, it brought a lot of things back.
I just thank them from the bottom of my heart that they're taking the effort.
A small gesture honoring the biggest of sacrifices. Alison Bamford, CTV News, Swift Current, Saskatchewan.
Penny's promise is our promise to our daughter. We won't let her grow up without doing everything we possibly can.
Still ahead, a young girl's extremely rare medical condition and her parents' quest to find a cure.
Get the latest live local breaking news. Sign up now for our morning and evening CTV News Ottawa newsletter. The best local content from CTV News, Your Morning Ottawa, and News Talk 580 CFRA. Get it all in one place. Sign up now at ctvnewsottawa.ca. The CTV News Ottawa newsletter is brought to you in part by CAA Business.
There's a live look at the traffic situation here across the city on our highways, and things are moving pretty smooth along Nicholas, but I can imagine in other parts of the city, if we're able to rifle through some of these shots here, we do expect some slowdowns because between Vanier Parkway and Nicholas Street, there is road work on the 417, but of course, we're not in the work week. There's a little bit of congestion there on the highway that I'm referring to, so keep that in mind. Also, with the snow expected in the forecast, if you plan on doing any road tripping over the course of this weekend, give yourself as much time as possible. Ooh, a bit of a technical glitch on that one. And that is the weather story. The snow is in the forecast. Beautiful clear sky, as you can see here behind me. It was a nice sunny day today, albeit a little bit chilly. And that is okay for this time of year because it means you're going to want to sharpen those skates and get outside for a skate. We've got a look at Lansdowne, people enjoying the sunshine. That is the rink in front of City Hall. We're hearing that it should be open by around December, I believe December 6th or 7th is what we're expecting. So keeping an eye on that one. And of course, here is Rideau Hall. This rink is refrigerated, so you really don't have to experience too cold of weather to get out there and take advantage of skating at Rideau Hall. So a few options here in the city as we take our first full look at the weather forecast, and we do expect, as I mentioned off the top, a bit of snow to be falling. Unfortunately, for those that hate shoveling and snow blowing, you might have a little bit of work cut out for you over the course of the next 48 hours. It is 0 degrees in St. John's, 1 in Charlottetown, 0 in Halifax as well. Pretty consistent around the Maritimes. We're currently sitting at -5, so it has cooled off quite significantly, even just from 3 hours ago. -8 right now in Sudbury, -10 in Timmins, 0 in Windsor and in Toronto. It is freezing out in the prairies, especially in Regina and in Edmonton at -18 degrees. Edmonton as cool as Yellowknife right now, -18 degrees, but they do have a little bit more sunshine. So they'll take that. 7 degrees in Vancouver, not a surprise, but that is really the hot spot across the country. And there is the chance of flurries that I was referring to, starting off lightly this evening and then building by tomorrow afternoon with a high of 2 degrees here in Ottawa. Similar story in the Ottawa Valley, although they will get a little cooler tonight. -7 is the low, and the same chance of flurries in the forecast. And then along the Seaway, it's snow or rain. So probably some slushy-like conditions along the seaway for their high tomorrow of 3 degrees. Look at the 7-day weather forecast. Shows that we do have a bit of a break from the precipitation on Monday. A mix of sun and cloud, but a high of just -6. So this is what I'm talking about with those cool conditions. Look at that, -2, -2, -8, and then -7. And the overnight lows getting to minus double digits almost. 30% chance of flurries Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So we'll be expecting to scrape off those windshields to get to work next week. Well, an 8-year-old girl in Toronto is battling an extremely rare medical condition that has left her parents with more questions than answers. Her family is now on a quest to fund research into a treatment with hope of one day finding a cure. CTV's Natalie Johnson reports.
What's that called?
At home on the piano,
G sharp to B to E.
8-year-old Penny's practice is music to her dad's ears.
Penny is a happy kid. She's incredibly resilient and persistent. She's a bright light.
A bright light who is growing up with a medical challenge that is far from black and white.
As you can imagine, for any parent, it's incredibly overwhelming and worrying to get a diagnosis for your kid, especially when the doctors that you're seeing don't know really what the condition is.
Where are you going, Penny?
It all began when Penny was a baby, struggling to crawl.
It's in the cups, Penny.
And meet other motor milestones.
No, you have to do jumping.
For 5 years, she underwent relentless testing before full genetic sequencing revealed a diagnosis, an ultra-rare form of muscular dystrophy called selenon-related myopathy.
It was something that gave us one answer, to answer the big why, and this is why she has these muscle problems, but it only leads to more questions.
Penny's family learned that the condition would affect her muscles over time, including those that she needs to breathe.
I can't run as fast, and my legs get tired really easily.
You helping your sister?
But there was no cure, no treatment.
Those sleepless nights, just like worried and feeling totally helpless and alone. And just in the middle of the night, one night, I remember at 3 a.m., I decided I'd start with like a GoFundMe. Sit up.
That first fundraising soon blossomed into a full-fledged charity. Penny's Promise was born.
Medical research is incredibly expensive, and when there is no funding except for the families themselves, it puts an enormous pressure on us to find the money to pay for this.
We're doing all the best things we can.
18 months later, through 2 galas, monthly pledges, and more, Penny's Promise has now raised more than $300,000 for medical research.
It's always so difficult to predict, but I think that our hope is we will be able to develop a treatment that can be tested in children or even adults with selenon myopathy sometime in the next 5 years.
Maybe one day in the far future, when we've got an answer for Penny, we can help other rare disease families that have such a heavy load to bear.
A heavy load that Penny's family lives with every day as they search for a cure.
Penny's promise is our promise to our daughter. We won't let her grow up without doing everything we possibly can.
It's your fair part.
As Penny shines, lighting up their lives.
All right, you gonna hit it off the top?
Natalie Johnson, CTV News, Toronto.
It was just because I loved trap trees. And my grandfather, he was an artist, and he always had the biggest Christmas tree.
Still ahead, a seaside town in New Brunswick has come up with a festive solution to help struggling food banks and improve holiday spirit.
iHeartRadio Weekenders is powered by Barhaven Ford, Ottawa's newest and largest Ford store, and Eastern Ontario's Ford EV leader.
It is time now to check in with our iHeartRadio Weekender, Tanea Taylor. Tanea.
A great one to check out this weekend is the Carp Farmers Christmas Market. This runs all weekend and showcases over 70 local vendors, plus live music and even visits from Santa. A great one to help you get on top of that holiday shopping or just to browse with a friend or the family. Next up is the Vintage Village of Lights at the Cumberland Heritage Village Museum. This is your chance to check out a postcard perfect 1920s and 30s village, all decked out for the holidays. Plus, decorate gingerbread cookies, watch heritage demonstrations, and a lot more. Sounds like fun for family and friends of all ages. and last today. Don't forget about the Christmas market in Lansdowne, proudly supported by Move 100. Local vendors, live music, and everything you need to feel like you are literally in a Hallmark Christmas movie. Christmas-themed drinks and snacks, hundreds of lights. You just really need to check it out for yourself. A perfect date night, night out with friends, or even a solo trip. Lots more happening around the capital this weekend. The full list and all the details are at ctvottawa.ca/weekenders. For the iHeartRadio Weekenders, my name's Tanea Taylor. Have a great one.
iHeartRadio Weekenders is powered by Barhaven Ford, Ottawa's newest and largest Ford store, and Eastern Ontario's Ford EV leader.
As food banks across the country experience a surge in demand, a seaside town in New Brunswick has come up with a festive solution to help. They're raising both money and spirits by recycling lobster traps and buoys in a clever way to spruce up the holiday season. CTV's Sarah Plowman has the details.
Touched by the sea, St. Andrews is also shaped by tradition. The town feels like a Christmas Hallmark movie. Center stage is a tower of lobster traps formed to make a tree.
Originally, it was just because I loved trap trees. And my grandfather, he was an artist, and he always had the biggest Christmas tree.
Allison Spear and her husband fish. Her idea to recycle traps to build a tree snowballed into a major fundraiser for the food bank.
In 8 years, we've raised $78,000.
Each buoy comes with a donation.
Can't lose the memory, so.
A chance for locals like Debbie Wright to give back and honor her late husband, Dave, with a buoy in his name.
It's good, warms my heart. It's a good thing.
Lit up, the traps brighten up the town and those who live here.
It's gorgeous. Yeah, it's a really fun community event.
Spreading cheer and awareness of how much the demand at St. Andrew's Open Door Food Program has ballooned.
In the last 3 months, it's gone up 25%.
The need that's not always obvious, but volunteers and board members feel it.
There is a greater need here more than ever, and I do feel that a lot of people are unaware of how much the need is.
So these traps stand as a reminder, a gift to the community that surrounds it, and a show of support for one another, stacked up. Sarah Plowman, CTV News, St. Andrews, New Brunswick.
After the break, the U Ottawa GGs and the Carleton Ravens, they face off in the annual Colonel By Classic. The Bell Media building is lit up. It is bigger and brighter this year, thanks to our friends at Christmas Decor from Nutrilon. Also lit up, Orleans tonight. It is alive and well with holiday spirit. That's where the annual Santa's Parade of Lights is underway. CTV's Camille Wilson is there as we speak. And just moments before the parade got underway, she sent us this.
Austin, we are here at the Orleans Santa Claus Parade, and hundreds of people have already lined the streets. The kids are excited. They're telling me that they're excited to get some candy. I mean, I would expect that they were excited to see the big man, of course, but everyone is excited in holiday cheer and just gearing up for the season, of course. And this parade also is a toy drive, Toy Mountain Drive, that people can bring unwrapped gifts and cash donations to help support children who, of course, need to have a Christmas as well. Now we're expected to see about 70 floats go down St. Joseph Boulevard. And again, about 60 firefighters that are on scene as well. And this parade is put on by the Orleans firefighters. So we're excited for what's to come and a night of cheer.
Again, a lot of fun over there. It's about 45 minutes in to that parade. Okay, now turning to some of the other stories that you need to know. And for this, we bring in CTV's Kimberly Fowle.
Yeah, the Orleans Parade's a lot of fun. I went to it last year, so I know Camille's going to have some fun there tonight. But one of Ottawa's biggest holiday markets, it's back on this weekend. Well, the annual 6th 613 Christmas Market ushers in the start of the holiday shopping season. You don't want to miss out on the ever-changing marketplace that features eclectic and homemade goods, great food, and one-of-a-kind items. The market features about 200 vendors at the Carleton University Fieldhouse, and it's also the preview for the 613 Holiday Night Market that'll be taking place every Friday evening leading up to Christmas over at Lansdowne. Well, and the rivalry continues for the Carleton Ravens and the U Ottawa Gee-Gees at the annual Colonel By Classics men's and women's hockey games. Now, the women's game faced off at 1 o'clock and the men's game at 4. Fans took in the action of the crosstown rival doubleheader that is, at the arena at TD Place. Now, the Gee-Gees took down the Ravens 4-1 in the women's game. The men's game, they're still playing right now. That's set to wrap up just after 7 o'clock.
Another big stop by Bennington. Ottawa not done yet. He scores! Shane Pinto ties it at 1.
Yeah, well, the Sens are in the middle of a 7-game road trip, and they welcome back the captain to the starting lineup last night after he was sidelined with a thumb injury. Good to see Brady Tkachuk back. Now, this game went back and forth, but St. Louis, they would eventually come out on top with a 4-3 win. The Sens head to Dallas tomorrow for a matchup against the Stars. Puck drop is scheduled for 6 o'clock.
Puck picked up. Vandenberg moves in. Sharp angle out for Chitteroni. They score!
The Oshawa Generals, they got out to the early lead against the 67s last night, but Brock Chitteroni ties it up at 1 in the second. Then later in the third, the Barber Poles, they would put this one away with 35 seconds left in the game right here. Ottawa wins 2-1. 67s are back on home ice tomorrow afternoon when they host the North Bay Battalion, and that's at 3 o'clock. Oh yeah, and excited for this lacrosse action coming back to the capital. The Ottawa Black Bears are suiting up right now for their home opener against the San Diego Seals. That's tonight at the Canadian Tire Center. It's one of 9 home games on the Black Bears calendar. The Bears made their National Lacrosse League debut last year, and tonight's game, again, it's set to start at 7 o'clock. And definitely nice to see lacrosse back here in the capital, Austin. It kind of breaks up all of the hockey action that we cover, so it's good to have something different to talk about.
100%. Have you ever been to a live lacrosse game?
I have. It's a different beast.
Yeah.
Lacrosse fans are very, very diehard. It's kind of like Atletico when I went to my first Atletico game. Wow, what an eye-opener. I love passionate fans, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's a blast out there, for sure. Well, after the break, we'll take you to London for some 4-legged festivities, helping to raise awareness for rescue dogs. But before then, here's a live look through our Centennial Glass Skycam. It is -5.
Tonight, the rise of AI in Canada and concerns over its use.
It's imperative that we build trust because things will get better and more complicated.
How the feds and provinces are putting the tech to work later on CTV National News.
Hairstyles, courtesy of Salon Fiorella.
Here's a recap of some of the top stories we're following right now. More traffic headaches on the Queensway this weekend in a year that was worse than others when you compare road work and all the delays.
Alberta's energy resources are a national treasure that can and must be developed.
Days after the province of Alberta and the federal government sign a memorandum of understanding to lay the groundwork for a new oil pipeline, the political blowback continues.
Well, I'm picking it on a mix of thickness and height.
He's talking about Christmas trees. Settle down, everybody. They're hunting for the perfect one, while supporting a great local cause as well. A handful of charities launched their tree sale campaigns this weekend, and a pretty nice day to be out there looking for Christmas trees as well. The sun was shining, but it was a little chilly. Waking up to -4 is the expectation, with some snow on the way as well. So hopefully you don't have to do much road tripping over the next 24 hours. 2 degrees is the high for tomorrow, -6 on Monday with a mix of sun and cloud, and then back to -2 degrees, which is around where we hovered for the majority of today. But you see a 30% chance of flurries Tuesday through Thursday. Time now to check in with our news team to see what the folks for the late night show are going to be working on, Kim?
Well, we'll definitely be looking out for any breaking news happening in the Ottawa area, of course, as we do every night. We'll also check out the Ottawa Black Bears, their home opener over at the CTC. They were just under 500 last year, finishing at 8-10. They're hoping to get off on a winning note this season. Plus, we just saw her, Camille Wilson, over at the Parade of Lights over in Orleans. It's in full swing at the moment. She'll join us for the late show for a full recap of the event. And of course, you can get the news anywhere, anytime at ctvnewsottawa.ca. Join me tonight for CTV News at 11:30.
Looking forward to that. That parade is always a huge success and a big draw in Orleans. Well, finally for us tonight, some dogs.
Yeah, a pack of rescue dogs decked out in Christmas-themed costume paraded through London, England in style.
We feel so blessed to have them in our lives.
More than 150 rescue dogs reportedly took part, gathering in central London for a walk to Buckingham Palace.
Lovely.
The event helps support animal charities.
Love to see those doggies all dressed up.
Mind you, is my favorite.
Yeah, they're so cute. Oh my goodness, we love a dog story here, don't we?
No kidding, no kidding. Yeah. All the dogs, especially that one with the cap. Stylish.
Chip, chip, cheerio.
It's good stuff. Good night, everybody.